My week has been one of the worst weeks that I've ever experienced in my life. So Saturday, I turned 21, and it was supposed to be the best weekend of my life, which turned out to be one of the worst. The following next day on Sunday night, me and my girlfriend of a year decided we were going to take a break from each other. And she was going to go stay at a friend's house, and I was going to stay at a friend's house. Yes, this was upsetting for me, very, very much so. This has happened before in the past, and so I figured, she takes her time, I take my time, we'll be back together in no time. So the Sunday day passes, the whole day's okay, we still have each other's logins and all that, and then Monday rolls around and everything changes. That Monday night, she leaves the Life 360, she logs me out of her stuff, and I'm sitting here wondering what's going on from my standpoint, because technically we're still dating and we're still not. It's a break. We decided, hey, we're gonna break up that Sunday, and now today's Monday. So for me, I'm kind of freaking out, wondering where she's at. So I'm on my knees as a man, crying, begging for her to respond to me, begging her to say something to me. And she kept telling me to please stop, please stop, please stop. She told me she needed her space, that her schooling is starting up. She needs to focus on that. She's got big tests this week that she needs to focus on and everything like that. And all I was asking was where she was at, what she was doing, but she was kind of avoiding the question, and I was very worried and very concerned. So after being miserable that whole night, Tuesday rolls around, and I've still got her on social media, still texting her or whatnot. She's just not really texting me back, and I'm just like, what's going on? Is she just completely done with me? And I'm just confused. So I pull a boyfriend thing, her ex-boyfriend thing, and I decided to contact one of her best friend's boyfriend, and because she had let me know where she was staying at, so I figured, well, maybe he'll know something. So he proceeds to tell me that Monday night she was out and about hanging with them, and she had got in the car with another guy. And so my heart drops and sinks, and I'm like, I can't believe it, because the guy that she got in the car with is what we had previous trouble with, trying to interfere with our relationship. And I was in shock. So the next steps I took is I called this guy up on the phone and asked him, man to man, did y'all hang out? He said he wasn't even in the area. I said, okay, all right. So I just hung up. And then I go to proceed to meet my girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, at a friend's house and talk to her and ask her the same question, and she tells me they weren't even around each other. So then I get all confused, because after I get done talking to her, I leave or whatever and say my goodbyes, and I'm still hurting at this point. I get another person that was driving around too that night tell me, why did I see your girlfriend get in the car with another guy? And so I'm like, okay. So now I've got two people telling me the same story, and I'm at this point, again, bawling my eyes out. So after being all upset, I decide that I'm just going to go get all her stuff in boxes and drop it off to where she's currently at, to where I just met her at. Because I wanted to be gone and done with, because she had made that decision to do what she did a day after we just separated. Not a permanent breakup, but a break is what we had decided on. And it just was never made clear at that time. So after dropping all of her stuff off, she leaves a message for me saying how much she hated me and how that I'm a piece of crap, basically, but in other words. And I'm basically saying back, you deserve this, you did this to me, and, common boyfriend-girlfriend fighting stuff. And we had to deal with an iPad, and I told her she could just keep it, because that's just the generosity of me. But that night, she really wanted her Snapchat back, and I felt so bad. And the things she was saying to me very concerned me, scared me personally, because, again, I love this girl to death. I still do. And with the things she was saying to me really scared me. So I drove halfway up there, and she ended up falling asleep at the house. So I'm like, okay, she's okay. So I drove all the way back home. And when I got back home, I went to sleep. But it was really hard for me to go to sleep. Wednesday morning comes around. It's time for work. Just had my Monday, Tuesday off. And I think about right when I was about to get off, I was supposed to meet her to talk about things, to talk about us, to talk about what we needed to do and everything like that. And I had hope. I was very excited that day that we were possibly going to be able to fix things. So me being the crazy boyfriend that I'm portrayed to be, I was texting her all day on Snapchat that I had access to, and she just wasn't texting me back, leaving me on open, not responding back to me, but she was active on her TikTok, which I didn't have access to. So I'm like, who is she texting? Because it's not me. And she's not getting the attention from me. She's texting on TikTok, because I would text on TikTok, immediate response. Text on Snapchat, no response. So I proceeded to get petty with it, and I called the same guy that she hung out with Monday and said, hey, me and my girlfriend are going to hang out today. He proceeded to get really mad and hung up the phone, so I found that suspicious. And within 5 minutes of me making that phone call, I get a call from my girlfriend, saying that she's not going to meet up with me later today and that she's tired of this drama. So I'm thinking to myself, she's still contacting this guy because he just called her. So now I'm even more heartbroken. At this point, I'm like, I cannot force love at all with her anymore. And I don't want to. That's not real love. And reminder, she told me she wanted space for school and she wanted to focus on herself and all that stuff. That's what she wanted. And that's what I was trying to give her, but it's really impossible when you've been with somebody for a year. And that was my mistake. But it gets more interesting. I decided to give her Snapchat back and do the right thing. And in return, she blocks me on every platform except Snapchat. So for that Wednesday and that Thursday, I remained on her Snapchat. She didn't snap me. I didn't snap her. I was afraid to snap her because I didn't want her removing me, because I still loved her and still do, and I didn't want her to block. Wednesday, Thursday was chill. And then Friday, the new Deadpool movie came out. I went to go see it with my brother, and she got off work at 8 o'clock that day, and right before she got off work, she removed me off of Snapchat. So at this point, it's very suspicious for me on what's going on. Again, I haven't said anything cruel at this point, and I haven't said anything rude. I just showed nothing but love and neediness and wanting to be back with her. So after the movie takes place and it's over with, I get out the movie theater and immediately start driving around town like the crazy boyfriend I am, trying to see if I see her anywhere, and I can't find her. And I've been texting her mother throughout this entire week, trying to see if she is okay, because I don't want to smother her. I don't want to bother her since that last Monday like I did, begging for her back. And what I didn't know is her mother was feeding information back to her, and I figured that later on down the road, but that's just a mother-daughter thing. Her mother kept telling me everything's going to work out, that she still loved me, and that we'd be back together one day. And so I held on to that hope. And then I get told she's hanging with her friends and that she wasn't coming straight home, like her mother told me earlier. And then that's where my mind starts running wild. I'm possibly thinking, who is she hanging out with? What is she doing? Everything an ex-boyfriend would think if he's still in love with his, ex-girlfriend. And then I figure out who it was. That same guy that she hung out with Monday picked her up from work and took her back home and met the mother for the first time. And they all loved him. And I was heartbroken. And I tried to go to bed that night, but my friend kept getting calls, and he said that it was my girlfriend. So I proceeded to call her, rang straight through. And then I get added to a FaceTime call with not only her, but her and her guy and his friends. And then they proceed to talk to me on the FaceTime. They do let me know that he was the one that took her home. The mother was on the FaceTime call too. And that's when I got my closure. That's when I realized that the love of my life prefers this guy over me. And that she just didn't want space. She wanted to be free and not be tied down to me anymore. Because what I struggled with, she didn't sit there and just tell me that she didn't want to be with me anymore. She told me that she needed time to herself, but the time that she spent by herself was with this guy. And reminder, the last time they hung out was that Monday. And so the second time they hung out was that Friday. And so I couldn't come to terms with it. I just couldn't let it go. It hurt me so bad. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you just texting me all week if you need something? I want you to text me because you love me. but that just wasn't the case. So wrapping all this up, Saturday they end up hanging out again, and I hung out with some friends, and he was Snapchatting pictures of her to these friends, and I saw everything I needed to see. So the end of the story is, the space she needed was really just she wanted to move on. She was done with me. So in return, me getting mad, I sent a long message to her, a very rude message to her, of how I truly felt. And that's how it's been. And yes, they hate my guts now, but what happened to me this week is nothing short from sad. It's very sad. No guy deserves to be treated like this. I was lied to the entire week, and I've got to come to terms with it. But that's my story. Hey, TikTok.